Welcome to the CX Sessions from the Customer Experience Innovation Institute. Every episode, we provide an innovative perspective on customer experience from the people who are changing your world, one experience at a time.
Welcome back to CX Sessions from Orlando in Florida at the ICMI conference. It's Simon Chris, your host, joined by the wonderful Stacy Sherman. Stacy runs, for me, the podcast that I listen to most, which is Doing CX Right. So Stacy, welcome to CX Sessions.
Thank you. So glad to be here, and I love that life just works so organically because we met in Glasgow. And I haven't seen you in a year, and here we are, and instantly there's that connection. So that's the CX space.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, just people reconnecting all the time.
Yeah.
That's actually what I love about this conference, is I get to connect with, with all my peeps.
Yes.
All that fun stuff. So for people out there that haven't heard of Stacy Sherman, and I doubt there is anybody, but what is it that Doing CX Right is about?
Yes, so doing customer experience right is about designing customer experiences from how they learn and buy and get and use and pay and service, designing it with the internal team and then validating it with real customers and constantly fixing the gap across each touch point. And the most important thing here is that it's the collaborative nature of designing the customer experience and breaking the company silos, because that is the biggest pain point in every company and different industries I've been working in. That's the pain point, the silos. So I'm really passionate about this topic, and CX, and obviously the EX, and especially the AX, the agent experience. It's all interconnected, and that's what Doing CX Right's about.
AX, I like that. I've heard the term EX, but employee experience, but I like agent experience. That's really good. What are you? You speak to so many people on your podcast, and some very interesting people. I listened to an episode recently where you were talking with a lady about the adult industry, and it was just a really, really interesting perspective. With all of those perspectives, what are you kind of seeing out there now in CX? What's trending?
Well, we do know AI, obviously, everybody's talking about it, so we're not going to spend too much time there. However, and we know that people are still fearful and afraid, but knowing they need to embrace it. That's another episode too. I would like to say that agent experience is a very hot topic because companies are realizing the operating costs and the tenureship and the high attrition rate is really huge, and the opportunity that's in their control to improve that high attrition rate is in our hands. It's in our ability, and it's not a magic button. It's actually that intentional practice of agent experience, agent empowerment, agent value. And having just worked at a BPO for over a year recently, I got firsthand experience managing agents, 20,000 of them.
Wow.
Across different principals and companies I've been at, that you really can apply the best practices of giving them a community, giving them the right training, giving them the right onboarding experience. It's not different than employees, but this agent experience, agent segment is a bit different. And it's so important because they're your front line. And when I tell salespeople, your agents are your front line, you're front facing, they're like, no, we are. And I'm like, no, you both are. Let me tell you why. So I want people to realize that they are the front line and they do represent the company. And people leave based on that.
What do you think, and from what you're seeing and hearing, what do you think annoys agents the most? What causes the most anxiety for these people?
Oh, gosh. Yes. It is a couple of things. One is the very high pressure that they're getting from both the customer irate and yelling, and forgetting that the agent's just the messenger, but customers forget that, and the pressure from management to hit the KPI goals. Hurry up, get off the phone. But wait, I didn't solve the customer problem. Well, no, we got these metrics, right?
AHT.
Right. So you've got this pressure cooker going on. So that's something I noticed that's causing the burnout and the stress. And then they leave. And then there's not enough staff. And then the customer ends up getting frustrated because they're on long hold time. It's this vicious cycle. So pressure and stress, definitely. I would also say that the lack of appreciation for them and the empathy and even career progression, they want that.
That's a big one, right?
And so what's happening is there's the opportunity for leaders to actually treat the agents as humans who actually want to grow, and giving those the opportunity. At your one-on-one, actually, if you have a great performer, you say, listen, there's a job opening in that department. I think you'd be great for it.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen enough.
Yeah. And for me, it's a bit of a numbers game. You know, when you're an agent, you've got a 10-to-1 to 15-to-1 relationship with your next line manager. When you become a team leader, that suddenly drops to like 7. And then you become an ops manager, it drops to 1 to 3. So you can kind of see a career path for yourself once you get above the water.
Yes.
That is, 20,000 agents all trying to vie for the next team leader job.
Yes.
Absolutely get that.
I also would say with AI, which I know is overstated, but what's so valuable with the AI world is that, especially when you're going from training and nesting to first call, there's so much anxiety. And that's where I know that AI can have a big play in the simulation of pretending that you're with a real customer and practicing that way before you get on a live call. And so that's really powerful, as well as the feedback that you get as an agent, where you're not with a human who has to tell you, like it could be embarrassing, but you can use AI to get ready for that call.
Yeah.
And there's so much we could say on that.
Okay. And let's cut back to your podcast. Who's the most interesting guest that you've had, and or what was the most interesting topic?
Yeah.
Because they might be mutually exclusive, I don't know.
Yes. Oh gosh. So now that I'm on my 103rd show,
Wow.
I've had a lot. And I would say one of my favorites was Daniel Pink. So he's a very big author. He's not in the CX space, but everything he said, I was able to bring it back to the CX and customer service world. And so he wrote a book recently called The Power of Regret, and how looking backwards helps you propel forward. And I believe leaders have to keep it real. When they make a mistake, be honest, be transparent. Tell your employees, tell your agents, look, tell your customers, this happened. Keep it real. And actually, vulnerability can be your superpower. And so I really believe in the authenticity of management and leadership, and we do have regrets and talk about them, and it makes you more human. And then the employees and teams they just want to be with you. They want to be on your team. You keep it where you understand them and they can understand you.
Yeah, it's very hard to be angry at someone who is being very transparent and very, just open emotionally about, I screwed up, we screwed up, this is what, it's very hard to stay angry with that.
Yes, so Daniel Pink, The Power of Regret, is obviously a personal book and development, but I see absolutely so much for business and cultures.
Fantastic. What about if I asked you to pull out your crystal ball, gaze ahead a few years, and I'm not going to force you to go 10 years, just 3 or 4 years ahead. What does CX kind of start to look like, do you think?
I believe that CX is going to a couple things. I see more of a blend of marketing. I almost say, people debate me, but CX is the new marketing. All right, but another show, another day.
Good call.
I also see that companies are getting better at onboarding. They're awful at outboarding. And that's a pain point to me because, when you're out, you're an alumni. And I've had situations where I was not outboarded well, and I don't now buy from that company. And so that's a big mistake. And you also don't know when you might want somebody to come back. And I've seen some cases this year of companies that laid off too many, and now they want people
And now they want them back.
Yes. So I think that's an opportunity, and I've been focusing on companies doing that better. The onboarding and the outboarding, obviously there's the middle, but that's a huge thing. And I think that people are figuring out, how does the AI not replace the human, but make it where we can free up time so we can spend more time with each other and customers?
And it's interesting, you've just hit on that, right? That AI giving you more time. And I totally agree, because for me, AI is about augmenting humans to make them super, not be the superpower. I often talk about, Iron Man's Jarvis in the helmet. That's kind of, how I see AI. But when you take something like that and you put that up against our obsession with measuring AHT and a schedule adherence and blah, 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 I can see all of those measures literally getting blown out of the water because they no longer mean true efficiency or kind of best practice. Is that something you'd think or you'd see?
I see measurements absolutely shifting. I see that where I worked recently, they had a measurement of purpose. How well is the company delivering on its purpose? And there's different definitions of purpose. Where I was, it was improving lives for customers and for agents and for employees. And I loved that because how is the company delivering on that promise and that purpose? And then I was part of a team where we would have these activities and intentional design of living out the purpose for the three stakeholders of customers, employees, and agents. And so what can we do from the inside to actually make sure that we're doing those things, not just saying we're a purpose-driven company. What are we actually doing? And then measure how well are we delivering on that.
Yeah, wow.
So I think that my belief and my advice is to tap into that beyond NPS. If you don't have if you're not, measuring anything today, NPS is great. You're just starting. It's easy, it's simple, but it doesn't get to the why deeply.
Yeah.
And so then that's where you have so many more metrics with purpose, with effort, with sentiments, that's where the future's going as well.
Yeah, and I totally agree. I will openly state that I am not an NPS fan. I'm a detractor of NPS, you might say. And yeah, I can see that just kind of shifting away. For me, NPS doesn't really tell you anything. And some groups that are using it, for instance, in Australia, the Taxation Office asks the question, how would you recommend us? Why would anybody recommend a taxation department? It's kind of a philosophical question, I guess.
Well, what about even in the airports? You can press a button, a smile or a frown, and I'm laughing because obviously people are punching the button anyway, but if I did a smile, you don't know why I gave a smile, and there's no way to give the company that information. Well, then what's the point?
And if you're standing in front of a customs officer who decides if you get in the country or not, what are you going to push?
Oh my God!
You're of course going to push smile because that's the only way you think you're going to get in the country.
Yeah. So speaking about swaying the decision and even gaming systems, I mean that's a whole other story.
I think the worst I've ever seen of that was I got a car serviced once, and they sent me an NPS survey afterwards with a note that said, by the way, anybody who gives us a 9 or a 10 gets a 10% off their next service. So they were basically just buying their NPS.
Yeah, can't do that.
No, absolutely not. What else do you kind of see going on? Like, what's the coolest thing you've seen in CX lately?
I would say it's scary and it's cool. It's both, okay? So I see back to AI where if you're on the phone with an agent, that agent can actually take on your accent. So you feel the localization, even though they don't know your language. And so people want to talk to people of their kind.
Of course.
So there's technology that's doing that. And that's really cool and really scary.
Yeah.
More scary is that these avatars. So I've seen people actually even speak on the microphone. They're not even there. It's their avatar. I don't know that I can get on board with that. Like I like this.
I have to say, I've had my voice synthesized for reading my book, and it's kind of a little scary to think that somebody can just copy my voice. But anyway.
Well, we're training the robots.
Yes.
So part of me says, what are we doing? And then the other part of me says, well, thank you for saving me some time. So I think our kids' generation is going to really feel what we're doing.
Yeah. And they're probably not going to worry about it as much as we do because it'll just be a part of their life.
Yes.
So, 3 questions I love to ask everybody that I talk to, and I'm really interested in your answers. The first one is, what does great customer service mean to you? Not in your CX world, when you're out doing Stacy things, doing shopping, doing whatever it is that you do. What makes a great customer experience for you?
I would say it's employees doing way past their job. And what I mean by that is there's this, I'll use a retail example, unless you want a phone example.
No, retail's good.
Okay, a retail. So there's a company, Trader Joe's in America. And so let me tell you what this looked like. I go into the store, I ask, can you tell me where this special product that's new on the market, can you tell me where it is? Now, most supermarkets or grocery stores will just say, yeah, it's over there on the, to the right and the left. Well, this employee walked me over to those bag of chips. Yep. But then she opened it up, and I'm like, wait, no, you don't have to waste the product on me. She's like, no, we want you to taste it and make sure you like it. Now, I mean,
wow.
Right? So, okay, I tasted and I'm like, yeah, I like it. I'll buy that because you don't need to open another one. But that's going up and beyond. And I'm sure it's part of the culture and what they, are empowered to do. But then also, as I'm leaving the register, it starts pouring out. She says, let me get my umbrella, I'll walk you and your bag to your car. I'm like, where am I?
Yeah.
Right? So that's what I mean. It's like, this isn't expensive technology. This isn't expensive, it's like a minute or two, where now I'm sitting here telling the story of Trader Joe's, and that's what everybody could get for their brand.
Wow. And it is those basic fundamentals. It's not AI, it's not super tech, it's the basic fundamentals of how can I be a better human for the person that I'm talking to.
That's doing CX right.
Yeah, right on. Yeah, that really is doing CX right. Second question is, and you're not allowed to say employ Stacy Sherman, what do you wish companies did more of in this CX space? What would you like to see more of?
I would like to see more companies breaking silos. People are in their box and they don't understand the domino effect of how person A's job is affecting B and C and D and E. So everybody's in these silos and the customer feels it, right? So I think that that's an opportunity for the silos. Is every company, every business size I've been in, that is just a big opportunity, and it has to break because the collaboration is what makes it special. And again, the end customer feels it.
Yeah, right on. And the third and final question is, what book are you reading right now, or what podcast are you listening to, or what's influencing you?
Yeah, so there's a book. I wrote a blog article about it, so I encourage people to read it. Maybe you'll put in the show notes.
Yeah.
The book is called The 4 Agreements. Now, it is not a business book. However, it's applicable to business. It's applicable to CX and every role. And the 4 agreements, I'll give you the teaser of what they are, but he goes deep into them. So never make assumptions. Don't take things personally. Be impeccable with your word, because words can be poison. And always do your best. And when I thought about what's do your best, actually, there are diminishing returns. So there's a point where you're doing your best and you're like, oh, I'll put in 110, 20. There's a point where actually that extra energy is diminishing. So he goes really into what this is about. And to me, it is how I live my life, and it is a game. It's a game changer. It's a life changer.
Spectacular. Well, I definitely will put a link to that in the show notes. If people want to get in touch with you, what's the easiest way for them to do that?
Yes, I appreciate that. Doingcxright.com. And I'm also very active on LinkedIn, all my social channels.
You are very active on LinkedIn.
I just have a lot of stories to tell.
Yeah.
And, some people love them and they follow me. Almost 12,000 of them do. And people who don't love me, it's okay. There's others.
And that's actually a great call out for everyone that's watching or listening, is that one of the things that I love about Stacy is she is an amazing storyteller, natural born storyteller. So you'll always get some great stories. Stacy, thank you for being on CX Sessions, and it's been fantastic to catch up, and we'll do this again.
Yes, thank you, and yay ICMI together, and this was fun.
It was. Thanks so much.
Okay.
That's it for this session. Let us know what you think or recommend someone for a future session at cxii.com.au. This podcast is brought to you by the Customer Experience Innovation Institute. Thanks for joining us, and tune in again soon to hear more CX sessions.